Shiba Inu are experiencing an unusual day today. The market is currently experiencing its greatest level of volatility. The price of Shiba Inu has abruptly reversed course. However, the cause may be significant. Absolutely no one anticipated this outcome. Approximately $1.4 billion are lost within a single 24-hour period. Additionally, your Shiba Inu may be entirely compromised. What is transpiring? Furthermore, what is the subject of my discourse? Well, allow me to elaborate. Welcome to Dr. Crypto, your daily serving of Shiba. This is the spot for you if you're curious about anything related to Shiba. If you want to keep informed about all the latest news forecasts and stay ahead of the crypto industry, subscribe. To get more Shib news, be sure to click the like button. Shiba Inu has recently experienced an unusual event. The price experienced an abrupt decline after receiving a substantial lift from yesterday's mini rally, dropping approximately 2% over the past 24 hours. A significant number of individuals are inquiring as to what is really going on. Yesterday, the atmosphere was entirely different. Investors were experiencing a sense of optimism. The Shiba Inu army was in a state of celebration. For the initial time in a long time, it appeared as though momentum was gaining. People were eventually beginning to assume that Shiba Inu was preparing for a significant event. However, it is currently functioning as an absolute gatecrasher. Almost immediately, the exhilaration transformed into frustration. Presently, it appears that we have returned to the initial position. This is undoubtedly a disappointment for the Shiba Inu community. The last thing anybody wanted was to witness the price decline again after all the hoopla. Therefore, you may be pondering, what is the situation? What is the reason for the Shiba Inu's erratic behavior today? So brace up, as the cryptosphere has recently experienced a significant event. And when I say massive, I mean that no one anticipated this. Just recently, one of the most significant crypto breaches in history occurred. The entire market was jolted by the event. These figures are absurd. In the twinkling of an eye, more than $1.4 billion was lost. Additionally, the consequences were immediate. More than $500 million in liquidations occurred in a single day, resulting in a significant decline in the entire crypto market. The global market capitalization has decreased by approximately 2% and is currently estimated to be approximately $3 trillion. This all began following a startling security lapse at Bybit, one of the largest exchanges in existence. Immediately upon the news release, pandemonium ensued, resulting in a general decline in prices. The tempest captured over 150,000 speculators, with long positions being the most severely affected. The total loss for long trades exceeded 300 million, while short transactions were also liquidated for over 200 million. What is the largest solitary liquidation? A substantial Bitcoin transaction valued at more than $12 million. Traders are in a state of distress as they attempt to determine the next course of action in the entire crypto space. Will this decline be temporary, or will there be additional turmoil in the future? However, the genuine inquiry is as follows. What about the Shiba Inu? What is the effect of this on Shiba Inu owners? Is their investment secure, or is there a possibility that their assets may be misplaced amid this disorder? It is peculiar that this topic is not being discussed by many individuals. The primary topic of discussion has been the breach itself, the significant liquidations, and the general response of the crypto market. However, what about Shiba Inu? The current situation is even more disquieting due to the fact that it is currently operating under the radar. This is the point at which the situation could become extremely perilous. Shiba Inu may be on the brink of a destructive event in history if these breaches continue. For what reason? Because the intruder could decide to unload each coin in an instant if they were able to steal a significant quantity of Shiba Inu. And in the event that this occurs, it would not merely be a minor decline. It has the potential to precipitate a complete collapse. Visualize the market being inundated with billions of Shiba Inu coins simultaneously. Panic would ensue as prices plummeted in a matter of seconds. Holders would begin to sell their own tokens in order to flee before the situation worsened. thereby triggering a cascading effect that could elevate the status of the Shiba Inu to a level that has not been observed in a considerable amount of time. We have previously observed sell-offs, however this would be on a dramatically different magnitude. There is no strategy, no meticulous distribution, just sheer pandemonium, when a hacker unloads everything all at once. Additionally, the market would be unable to respond in a timely manner. At present, there is no confirmation that the Shiba Inu was directly impacted. But that is the issue. The potential for one of the most significant Shiba Inu collapses to date exists if the perpetrator is resting on a substantial amount of coins and no one knows it until it is too late. The question is, how much destruction has already been inflicted, and how much more severe could it become? The following is the most peculiar aspect. This is not the initial instance of a similar nature. Do you recall the recent report of a significant breach on an Indian exchange? Shiba Inu endured yet another brutal incident. Urgunt, the largest cryptocurrency exchange in India, experienced a significant security compromise that resulted in significant damage. A criminal breached one of their accounts, resulting in the theft of over $200 million in digital assets. The events transpired in the early hours of July 18, 2024, catching everybody off guard. Subsequently, the exchange verified the assault in a tweet on X. However, the harm had already been inflicted by that time. And this is where the situation becomes even more dire. A severe blow was delivered to the Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu tokens valued at approximately $100 million were stolen by the perpetrator, who promptly disposed of each token. The outcome? The Shiba Inu army was sent into full crisis mode as a result of a severe 15% price decline, which almost immediately erased gains. And imagine what, Bybit, the exchange that was recently compromised, also contained a substantial quantity of Shiba Inu, valued at nearly $40 million. In the event that history duplicates itself and the hacker chooses to hack additional wallets and the hacking continues, wallets with significant quantities of Shiba Inu compromised may experience another excruciating collapse. If Shiba Inu is discovered in the midst of this cyber rampage, the situation could quickly escalate. We have previously observed the consequences of dumping a stolen Shiba Inu. It initiates a series of events that further depress prices. Therefore, Shiba Inu may experience additional substantial losses in the event of another sell-off. However, remain patient for a moment. Maybe we don't need to fret so much if we take a few steps back and consider the broader context. Due to the fact that Shiba Inu are distinct, in contrast to numerous other digital currencies, Shiba Inu is not merely another token that circulates in centralized exchanges. It is founded on the principle of complete decentralization. Satoshi Kusama, a prominent figure in the Shiba Inu community, has frequently discussed this topic. In fact, he once explicitly stated in a tweet that he would not provide his business card to anyone who inquired about it. What was his reply? "No, I apologize. I do not possess a business card. I am merely another member of the Shiba army who is endeavoring to improve the world by implementing decentralization. That is what distinguishes the Shiba Inu. It is not solely about price fluctuations or the actions of centralized platforms. Rather, it is about the development of a more substantial entity that cannot be regulated by just one exchange or a small number of influential actors." Although breaches and sell-offs can disrupt the market, they do not define the essence of the Shiba Inu. Therefore, the long-term goal for Shiba Inu remains unaltered, despite the fact that the short-term price may fluctuate. Decentralization signifies the return of power to the community, and no singular event can negate this. One of the fundamental principles of cryptography should not be overlooked. Not your keys, not your currency. In the final analysis, your Shiba Inu is formally not yours in the manner you may have imagined if it is located on a centralized exchange. The exchange maintains custody over it, which means that in the event of an unforeseen event, such as a breach, withdrawal halt, or closure, you may lose immediate access to your own holdings. This has occurred repeatedly, and each time a significant exchange is affected, individuals are reminded of this brutal reality. However, if you truly hold your Shiba Inu, which entails storing it in a private pocketbook accessible only to you, you are in a significantly more secure position. Your funds cannot be withdrawn from an exchange by a fraudster. Your holdings are not susceptible to the security vulnerabilities of another entity, and withdrawals are not subject to abrupt restrictions by any organization. This is precisely the reason why decentralization is crucial. Shiba Inu advocates for a future in which individuals have complete authority over their assets, rather than a centralized entity that is susceptible to compromise. Therefore, although breaches and exchange problems will always be a possibility, individuals who adhere to the not your keys, not your coins policy are significantly more prepared to endure the pandemonium. Fortunately, there is some significant news that could significantly impact Shiba Inu owners. A significant legal dispute has been resolved in favor of one of the largest exchanges that trades Shiba Inu. The Securities and Exchange Commission of the United States has formally consented to dismiss its lawsuit against Coinbase. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong has verified that they have reached an agreement with the SEC to completely discharge the case, following years of back-and-forth spending of taxpayer dollars and a legal battle that rocked the crypto space. A clear separation without any fines or charges. Therefore, what is the significance of this for the Shiba Inu? Coinbase is one of the most extensively used and trusted platforms for Shiba Inu owners. It is in a completely different category than lesser exchanges that have been affected by breaches and collapses due to its strong regulatory standing and rock-solid security. The fact that Coinbase is emerging from this case with enhanced strength suggests that it has the potential to propel the exchange to greater heights, thereby attracting an additional number of users. Increased trading volume and increased confidence in platforms that genuinely safeguard their consumers, which could potentially result in a significant increase in the value of Shiba Inu. This is a source of solace for Shiba Inu owners. Most assets are in a significantly safer position than those that are trapped on hazardous platforms, as the majority of Shiba Inu trading occurs on Coinbase, which has demonstrated its stability. Therefore, despite the current market volatility, this legal victory serves as an indication that not all exchanges are susceptible. Additionally, there is minimal concern for those who possess Shiba Inu on Coinbase. However, what is your perspective on this matter? Comment in the space provided below. The day is over now. Remember to give it a big thumbs up to see our most recent material, share it, and subscribe to the channel.